Hey everyone. This is an addendum to the last episode. I briefly mentioned the bombing of the school, the girls' school in Iran, and just kind of passed through it very quickly. And I don't think that it really reflected the depth of the feelings that I have about children being killed, being murdered, whether it was an accident, even with the 40 minutes or whatever they're claiming it is. It's worth speaking to because as creative children's content, we care about children. At Atypical, our entire team, we care about children. We care about children deeply, all children. We care about children in the United States, Mexico, the world, Gaza, Palestine, Israel, Middle East. It doesn't matter. We don't discriminate or we don't judge a life or the value of a life based on their religion or who they are, where they come from, what they look like, what their skin color is, what their orientation is. A child is a child is a child. And full disclosure, my stepfather's Iranian. And I grew up in a Christian household, and long story short, but yeah, my stepfather's Iranian. My sister is black and Iranian. And I grew up with an idea that everyone has different stories, non-traditional homes, whatever that means. You can have two people that are Christian or American, and what does it mean to be American? But stories are so complex. But at the end of the day, some things are very simple. And because as I am able, giving to like all of these organizations, especially for children, just at the scale that I am able to do so, it's imperative to understand the value of the stories of the people that are impacted. And my hope is that the world and that adults begin to see the impact, and there are many that do, but begin to see the impact of children's stories. And how we determine that they have value or they don't based on their age, race, size, whatever. When we're passing legislation, when we are in times of war, when kids are being deported from countries without parents or without guardians, and we're justifying it, and we're forgetting their stories. When I look at my children, I have three sons. I see the stories of the world. I see other mother stories in them. I said, oh, how many, when I see another woman on the street, I don't think about whether she has on a hijab or she has, she's covered if she's, whether she's Hasidic or whatever origin, or language that they speak. I'm like, oh, she's a mother. And when I see their child, I think about the significance and the impact of that child and what the stories are like when they wake up and they have the joy of their own families or when they give birth. The universal connectedness of what it means to be a human being. And I also wonder who decided and has the right to decide when a child's story ends or when another person's story ends. Having had, unfortunately, lost some family members to murder. It just is something that also resonates with me. It's like, what right do we have to decide that someone else's story gets to end and that their life has this much value based on our own experiences, our desires, our own demons, and whatever truths that we've manufactured about them, their culture, their society, with part of the story that we're given or part of the propaganda that we're given. One of the things that I think really stood out for me over time, both at University of Nebraska, being a journalism major, I was in international business and journalism. I wanted to go, like I said, into broadcast journalism and eventually hopefully be an ambassador, that kind of stuff. But also as a filmmaker, a citizen of the world, a citizen of New York, and someone that travels frequently, looking at people's stories and deciding that all humans, everything that has breath has value. And I am still fighting to understand how we can do the things that we are able to do to each other based on stories that we've told or have been told to us, which goes back into where I kind of sidestepped with all these qualifications, going back into NYU and looking at propaganda and how propaganda spread during war, how filmmaking was used to spread propaganda, right? So that is propaganda are stories. They're stories on the internet that are not true, that look like they're true. And in the age of AI, they're going to become more dangerous because anyone can turn around and create a story that someone is willing to believe and act upon. And now we, more than ever, have a country that is very much divided by stories that are not true. In journalism, you had to have 3 to 5, you had to fact check, you have 3 to 5 reliable sources, and there's a whole process for that, and not just word of mouth, not hashtags and friends just texting you a new site or someone speaking out on YouTube. But we had to truly fact check and make sure we knew what we were talking about. And to me, that is something that I still take with me. It's like, okay, if we're working on, let's say, a documentary or just even trying to understand something, like, okay, what does that really mean? What did this part happen, and what perspective? What's the 360 on this? How many people's stories all happened in the same place, right? That were all affected and impacted differently. And at the end of the day, going back to the original content and the original form and substance, is just a tragedy of epic proportions. And I hope that we are able to realize that every time a person dies, that we have just ended a story. We've ended the story of a life that we couldn't give, but we saw fit to take away or allow someone else to take away without sharing our voices around it if we're not speaking out. So advocate for more stories and for humanity, because that's the larger human story. Thank you for listening. Bye-bye.